Hi there, and welcome to another Mojo Moment. This time we're going to use your imagination to deposit some GCSE chemistry content on the evolution of the atmosphere into your long-term memory. So listen carefully and let your imagination run wild. Right, let's get fracking. Sorry, that was a really poor global warming gag. There's nothing like the atmosphere of a party at a billionaire's house. But it's interesting to note how those with the most money are not necessarily the ones who make the biggest noise or throw the best party. Here, we're going to compare and contrast the atmospheres at 3 of the world's best known billionaires' parties, so we can find out how the atmosphere changes. So, let's get started with James Dyson. He made £4.6 billion making vacuum cleaners and hand dryers. Well, you wouldn't have much fun at a James Dyson party. No atmosphere! All sucked out by those darn hoovers. So think Dyson. 4.6 billion and no atmosphere. Next up, Richard Branson. He's worth $1 billion less, or in atmosphere terms he's a billion years later. We're talking 3.6 billion. But in comparison to Dyson, a Branson party is like a whole world of volcanoes have been set off all around you. Think massive explosions, tidal waves, lava streams, and boy, did those volcanoes kick out a whole load of gas. It's mostly carbon dioxide, but it really creates an amazing atmosphere. It's out of this world, literally. It's like the atmosphere you would get if you were on Mars and Venus. Sounds wild, huh? Well, there are 3 main downsides. Number 1, Bransons parties are packed. They're absolutely stuffed with people. So much so that there is no oxygen. You simply can't breathe. And with that many people in a room, it smells of farts, or methane, which is what farts are made of. As for the toilets, well, the smell of ammonia from all that urine is overwhelming. Number 2, Branson's parties are sweaty. More than that, they're full on wet. Water comes pouring out of the air, a whole ocean full of water. In fact, the world's oceans were created during Branson's parties. And number 3, the drinks are all carbonated water. Fizzy water at a billionaire's party? Branson simply takes loads of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and dissolves it in water. So think Branson, 3.6 billion, packed parties, volcanoes producing carbon dioxide gas, no oxygen, farts and urine, or methane and ammonia, sweat to fill oceans, and fizzy carbonated water. The last billionaire on the list is Trump. Let's face it, he had to be on this list. Actually, Trump is worth almost another billion less than Branson, at 2.7 billion, or 2.7 billion years ago. And his party he puts on are predictably weird. For Trump, his parties are all about opportunities for him to show off. It is all about photo opportunities, or photosynthesis, as he tends to tweet. Journalists want photo opportunities of Trump, but Trump likes to call journalists pond life, or algae. The result of this is that the algae gave Trump the oxygen of publicity via photo opportunities. So we see a new kind of atmosphere at Trump parties. The oxygen of publicity means that plants thrive and absorb loads of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Surprisingly, therefore, Trump parties tend to offer a spectacular range of vegetable or salad-based food. Not what you'd expect of the man, perhaps. Of course, all that food attracts animals, which have become common at all Trump parties, feeding on the plants. Did I say animals? Sorry, that's another Trump term for journalists, of course. Finally, Trump goes one better than Branson, or Trump trumps him, as they'd say. Instead of carbonated drinks, Trump uses those dissolved carbonates to create sedimentary rocks and fossil fuels at the bottom of the ocean. You can always rely on Trump to aim for the bottom. So to sum up, Trump, 2.7 billion, photo opportunities, algae, or journalists, the oxygen of publicity, plants absorbing CO2, animals, and sedimentary rocks and fossil fuels. So, that's 3 billionaires and 3 different party habits dissected. But is that as good as it gets? Well, it turns out that the longest running party in the world today, still running as we speak, isn't a billionaire's party, but a simple, lowly multi-millionaires. Worth a paltry £200 million. 200 million? There's a coincidence. This party has had the same fantastic atmosphere for around 200 million years too. So what's made it so special? Well, it's the perfect mix of guests. 80% nights, or nitrogen, 20% octane, odd but essential, and a smattering of noblemen, think noble gases, and just enough carbonated water to drink, think carbon dioxide and water vapour. And that's it! Content on how the atmosphere evolved. You can see the content we've covered in the table on screen now, and you can download this from the site if you want. Have a go at the worksheets on the site now, and we'll be in touch to let you know when you need to revisit this video. Meanwhile, thanks for using your Emojanation.